All right, so we're kicking things off with the USPL Season 3 opener.
Yeah, Carolina Eagles versus the California Golden Eagles. Should be a good one.
It should be. And we've got all sorts of stuff to break down, highlight reels, post-game analysis, even some player interviews.
Oh, wow. A deep dive indeed.
That's the plan. I really want to understand what happened in this first match, not just, the score.
Right. The why, the how, the strategy.
Exactly. And speaking of strategy, the Carolina Eagles won the toss and chose to bowl first.
Interesting. Most captains, they want to bat first, right?
Yeah.
Especially in an opener.
Especially in a high-pressure opener like this one.
Exactly. So the Eagles must had a plan.
They must have. Now, California didn't disappoint at the bat. Nauman Anwar, he just smashed it. 64 runs.
He did. And those boundaries early on against the Eagles' opening bowlers really just set the tone. I mean, just disrupted their rhythm.
Absolutely. Set the tone for the whole Golden Eagles innings, really.
It did. And it wasn't just power hitting either. Anwar was smart about it. Clever placement, finding gaps in the field, really kept that scoreboard moving.
And then, of course, Unmug Chand. Classic Chand, 63 runs off 54 balls.
Oh, yeah. Picked his moments perfectly. When the Eagles tried to, tighten things up, he'd rotate the strike, keep that pressure on. But then, when they let up, even a little, bam, to the boundary.
He's such a master at building in innings. Even under pressure, he never seems to lose his cool.
Never.
And hey, let's not forget about Chad Bose. Solid contribution, 35 runs.
Oh, absolutely. Every run matters in T20. And Bose, he really capitalized on those loose deliveries. A wide ball here, a slightly short one there, and boom, extra run.
Yeah, those runs really added up, ended up with a pretty intimidating total, right?
Oh, yeah. Intimidating is right. 197 runs for the California Golden Eagles. That's a tough chase, especially for the first match of the season.
Definitely a tough chase. Now, the Carolina Eagles, they did put up a fight. Shah Jahangir, their captain, he led from the front, 57 runs, aggressive. But even his firepower, it just wasn't enough to close the gap.
It really wasn't, but you've got to give Jahangir credit. I mean, he came out swinging, knew they needed a quick start. He took some risks, sure, but that determination, you have to admire that.
For sure. But, he needed more support from the other end.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that lack of support, that's what hurt them.
It did.
Their highest partnership was only 47 runs, Jahangir and Ronak Sharma. Sharma had a decent 40 runs. But those partnerships, those are key in a T20 run chase.
Right. Absolutely key. It's like, building a house on sand. You need that solid foundation. Partnerships let the batsmen settle in, build that momentum, take calculated risks without feeling like, oh, man, one more wicket and we're done.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And that's where the Carolina Eagles, they just couldn't quite get it going. Yeah, they needed someone to, stick with Jahangir, build something solid, rotate the strike. But it just didn't happen.
Nope. And when you're chasing that kind of total, 197, those missed opportunities, they really sting.
Oh, they come back to bite you for sure.
Now, I know we didn't get specific bowling stats for this particular match, but we can still glean some things from the commentators, right? The overall flow of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that really jumped out at me, it seemed like the Eagles bowlers struggled early on with their line, their length. Just too many loose deliveries.
And the Golden Eagles batsmen, they were ready to pounce on that, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. And when you give guys like Anwar and Chand those kinds of opportunities, I mean, you're asking for trouble.
Right. Giving freebies to those big hitters, that's T20 suicide.
Pretty much. It felt like the Eagles were always playing catch-up, always trying to contain those runs.
Reacting, not dictating.
Exactly. And in T20, momentum is everything. You got to seize control early, both with the bat and with the ball.
So it sounds like a combination of things led to the Carolina Eagles' defeat. That decision to bowl first, some missed opportunities at the bat, those early bowling struggles.
Yeah, it all adds up. I mean, that's the beauty of T20, isn't it? Every decision, every single play, it can have a huge impact on the final outcome.
Makes it exciting to watch, for sure.
And to analyze. Now, we've talked a lot about the Golden Eagles, their batting, and of course the Eagles, their struggles. But let's talk bowling. What strategies are we seeing on these USPL pitches? What's really working?
Okay, yeah. Now, I know later in the tournament, Shadley Van Shelwick, he was a standout for the Golden Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Taking wickets left and right.
Oh, the commentators were raving about him. What made him so effective?
That's what I want to know.
Well, a big part of it was he was adaptable. Wasn't afraid to mix things up, different deliveries, different speeds. He bowled a lot of slower balls, which on these USPL pitches can be really, really effective, especially when the batsmen are trying to, go big.
Slower balls.
Yeah.
For our listeners who maybe aren't as familiar with, cricket lingo, can you explain what a slower ball is? Why it's
Uh,
so tricky?
Sure. It's basically you deliver the ball slower than the batsman expects, often with like a different grip. So the ball might dip or kind of hold up in the air.
So it's deceptive.
Yeah. And that deception, that's what messes with the batsman's timing. They mistime their shot or, play it too early.
So it's kind of like a changeup in baseball. Keep the batter guessing.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. It's all about disrupting their rhythm, forcing them to make a mistake. And Van Shalwick, he was a master of that.
And on the Carolina Eagles side, Jake Ball, he was a key bowler for them. What about his style? What made him effective?
Ball, he was all about accuracy, really tight lines, forcing those batsmen to hit to the longer boundaries. He didn't get as many wickets as Van Shalwick, but he was crucial for containing the opposition, building that pressure.
So we're seeing a mix of things working. Variations, accuracy.
Yep, it's not just about bowling fast or, racking up wickets. It's about being smart, reading the conditions, adapting your strategy.
All right, so let's circle back to this opening match. California Golden Eagles, they set that huge total, 197, Anwar, Chand, those half centuries. And the Carolina Eagles, well, they just couldn't match that firepower, couldn't build those big partnerships. Final score, California wins by 29 runs. Now, looking back, that decision to bowl first, you think it backfired for the Eagles.
It's a tough one. I mean, on one hand, you could say, yeah, maybe it gave the Golden Eagles that perfect platform to, really let loose with their batting. But on the other hand, maybe the Eagles, they had a specific plan in mind. Maybe they thought the pitch would offer something to their bowlers early on.
Maybe they underestimated the Golden Eagles a bit.
Possibly. And remember, this was the first match. Teams are still, figuring each other out, feeling each other out, testing the waters.
Makes you wonder how the Eagles' strategy will, evolve as the season goes on. Will they stick with bowling first? Or, I don't know, maybe adapt a bit more? Depending on the opponent, the conditions.
Well, that's the thing about the USPL, right? It's dynamic. All those tactical nuances, how teams adjust. It's like a, what do you call it, chess match.
Totally. And, for fans like us, that's what makes it so interesting to watch, to analyze. What did you pick up from this match that, I don't know, maybe others missed?
Well, one thing that impressed me, the Golden Eagles, they're running between the wickets. Really smart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Even when they weren't hitting boundaries, they were always looking for those quick singles, those twos, putting pressure on the fielders, keeping the scoreboard ticking.
Right, because those quick runs, those can be so disruptive
Yeah.
for the bowlers.
Totally. It gets in their heads, throws off their rhythm, and then bam, creates opportunities for those bigger shots.
It's an important part of T20. It's easy to overlook.
It is. Something to watch for in the upcoming matches. Pay attention to how teams use those runs between the wickets. It can totally change the game.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a great deep dive. Learned a lot.
Yeah. Slower balls, strategic decisions, what's not to love.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is just the beginning, right? Lots more USPL action to come, more exciting matches, more, thrilling performances.
Oh, yeah. So keep watching, keep those deep dive questions coming, and most importantly, keep enjoying the game.
And remember, everyone, as you watch those matches, don't just focus on the highlights. Think about the strategy. Those small decisions, those moments of brilliance, that's what can really swing a match.
That's what it's all about.
Until next time.